Today I'm going to do a final pruning for the season on our grapevines. We have two different cultivars and they've grown at different rates. This is likely just a difference between cultivars. We've also had a little bit of leaf roller damage and that could have slowed down the growth as well. So in the first season of growth, our main objective is to establish a strong trunk, and different cultivars grow at different rates. Sometimes this might be all that we can accomplish in the first growing season. Other times we could start to train our lateral arms, which are called cordons. This cultivar is our Mars, and it's been a little bit slower than Sunbelt. And the growing trunk just recently surpassed our top wire. When this happens, we're going to tip that. We're going to cut off the tip, and we want to do this at a point that's above the second leaf, above the wire. So here we have the first leaf and the second leaf, and so I'm going to cut it just above that point. When we tip the plant, it's going to encourage lateral growth from these buds that are lower down, and that's going to produce the growth from which we train our arms or cordons. Now throughout the summer we've allowed the shoots lower down the plant to develop, and this has provided energy to our developing root system and to our developing trunk. But now's the time to go in and prune all this lateral growth out. Now this plant has produced some pretty strong lateral shoots at the lower wire. And in the home garden, there's two very common ways of training the plant. You can have the main trunk with a pair of cordons growing on the top wire. Sometimes you'll see that as well as a second pair of arms growing on the lower wire. And because this cultivar seems to be a little slower, I'm going to go ahead and leave these nicely developed side arms on the lower wire for now. I could always come back and remove them next year or the year after if I decide that the top arms are plenty for production. So you want to go ahead and remove all the other side branches all the way down to the base of our trunk. And it seems like we've taken off quite a bit, but this is going to make all the energy go into producing our cordons, some nice strong cordons. Our Sunbelt cultivar has grown much more vigorously this season, and we've already come in and tipped the top of our trunk, and we can see that some of the lateral shoots have broken below this cut. Of course, we've removed several lateral shoots that were developed below the top cordon wire. These were nice and strong, but we want to establish our arms or our cordons from buds that emerge either at or slightly above the top wire. If they're below, they're going to be weaker and not able to support all the weight. The purpose of these arms that we're training is these are going to be the source of our new growth and our fruit every year. And a cordon will produce new shoots year after year until they need a replacement. So we want to select a nice sturdy branch, and we want to train them very well. And for this reason, they need to be trained from a high point so that they're going to be nice and strong. So again, on here, I'm going to go through and remove all of the lower lateral branches that have merged along our shoot. And since this cultivar is very vigorous and hardy, even though we have some nice lateral branches on our lower cordon wire, I'm going to go ahead and remove these, and we're just going to focus on the top growth on this cultivar. They've wrapped themselves around here a little bit, so I need to prune off the tendrils to get them out. We're going to clean this all the way down to the base. Now you can really see when you look at this trunk how much more vigorous the Sunbelt is. The trunk is a lot thicker than our Mars. This plant has been growing very well. It's so happy here in the gardens. I'm going to have to come back with a larger pruner to cut this branch off. Now the arms that I have left at the top, I'm going to wrap them around one time around the wire and tie them on with some stretchy tape. And we'll want to come back and look at these as they grow and continue to tie them along the top wire. As we saw with those lower branches, they tend to do a good job of this on their own. They'll wrap their tendrils around and hold on to that wire pretty well. This one I felt was a little bit high, but I think for now it'll be fine. If I get a better bud that breaks closer to the wire, I could come back and train that one as my cordon and cut this one off. We're going to leave this plant to produce its side branches for a while. It doesn't need any additional pruning until the winter months. Now's a good time, since I'm out here, to walk around and look at some of our other fruits and see how they're producing as well. Our brambles, or raspberries and blackberries, have established very well, and you can see there's a lot of sort of rambling lateral growth. Now these long shoots, at this time we could go ahead and train them to our wire. I've already started that on this plant here. And raspberries and blackberries have an interesting growth cycle. Each year they produce new shoots, which are called primocanes, and these primocanes are just vegetative. They don't produce any fruits. The second year, those primocanes become floricanes. They'll produce flowers and fruits. And when we train our blackberries and our raspberries, it's a very good idea to train the primocanes and the floricanes to different sides of our trellis. So this year, I've started tying all the shoots up to one side, and I do that simply by using our stretchy tape and lifting the branches up and over the wire and securing them on. Now the reason that we secure them to opposite sides of the trellis is to make it easier for pruning. We're going to come through in the winter months and we're going to tip all of our current season's growth, which are going to, at that point, they're going to become our floricanes in the winter time for the next season's fruit. And all of our new growth we're going to train to the other side, because at the end of the season we remove all the shoots that had previously fruited. By keeping them separate, it's very easy to tell which ones have fruited and which ones haven't, and it makes that pruning process go much faster. You want to go through and tie up all of the canes that are long enough to reach the wire. By tying them up, it'll help support them through the winter and protect them from being damaged by heavy winds. Now we also have our strawberry planting. I fertilized this last week. If you're interested in establishing a strawberry bed in your own landscape, late September into early October is a good time to plant, or you can wait until February and March for a dormant season planting. Before we leave our orchard, I wanted to take a look at some of the fruits of our labor. Our passion fruit vine is established very well. We didn't quite get it trained to the wire this year, but it's still growing vigorously, even with a little competition from the Gulf fritillary caterpillars. And we have quite a number of fruits developing. And a lot of people wonder, well, when are these fruits ripe? And I have one here that is ripened. You want to harvest them when the skin gets wrinkly like this, or when they fall off the vine. And when you open it up, you'll see a pulpy mixture of the seeds, and the seeds have this nice pulp around them, which is very sort of sweet sour, a nice, unique and distinctive flavoring. I have another rather unique fruit tree that I wanted to take a look at as well. This is an uncommon fruit tree with a wonderful name, Ziziphus jujuba, or the common jujube. It's an Asian fruit, and it also makes a very wonderful ornamental tree. It has this beautiful glossy green foliage, and it produces a nice large canopy, sort of a shade tree in the landscape. The fruits are ripe when they start to get this brown mottling on the skin. Now jujubes perform best in the landscape. They'll fruit the most if you have more than one cultivar. In our orchard, we've established the cultivars Lee and Lang. Delicious.